And it is not rolling. So we were lied to. Sorry, there's no intro. Welcome to the Most Accurate Podcast. I am your host, Jennifer Akins. I am joined by my co-host, Justin Edwards, on this glorious Tuesday of week 6 of the 2024 NFL season. Justin, how's it going?
Going good. It's like full on fall here. So it's nice. It smells so nice outside. Geared up for, Halloween. It's really the best, the best holiday. I won't hear otherwise.
You're not going to get an argument from me. I'm a Thanksgiving fan, which is similar-ish in season and whatnot. But yeah, I mean Halloween's great. Even doesn't matter how old you are, Halloween's great. I actually have a friend that's having a birthday party like the week before Halloween, and she's going costume. So I get to dress up this year, even though it's not necessarily for Halloween. She was born in the 70s, so she's doing like a 70s theme.
Okay.
Yeah, 70s theme party, but she doesn't want you to just like dress up 70s. Like it has to be specific. You know what I mean? A movie, a show, song, current event, something from the 70s. So there's a lot to pick from. Sure. I was Googling all the shows and stuff. I'm like, wow, there's a lot of really good costumes that we can come up with. But anyway, to riff off your fall thing. I wish it was more fall here, to be honest. It's we've got like 5 straight days in the 80s in Denver in mid-October, which is not ideal. Luckily it gets cold enough at night that like it's not, you know what I mean? Like my house is still chilly right now at 10 a.m., which is good. All right, I guess we should get to the actual show here. This is our streaming show. We do every Tuesday at noon Eastern. We go over the 4 streamable positions: quarterback, tight end, kicker, and defense. Let's wrap up last week's show real quick. We'll do a quick little recap. Last week, I prefaced the whole thing with quarterback was pretty gross. Like there weren't a lot of options. I said it was gross before.
Seems to be a weekly occurrence.
Yeah, we'll get there. But yes, quarterback was gross, and it actually remained pretty gross. Justin Fields, as I said last week, was far and away the best option, and he was the best option in the end. He ended up being quarterback 15 with 15.9 fantasy points. The other 3, all gross, but we got Deshaun Watson at quarterback 23, Andy Dalton was quarterback 28, and Tyler Snoop Huntley was quarterback 26. Pretty much what we thought. Nothing, no big surprises there. Justin, how did tight end pan out for you? You're on mute.
It went well. It could have been better. We had Tucker Kraft as the overall tight end 1. Zach Ertz was the 9, despite his 8 targets. He came down with only 2, and 1 was a seam route that could have been legitimately an 80-yard gain, if not like a 98-yard touchdown. But we move on. Tyler Conklin was the tight end 15, and Cade Otton was the tight end 23 with 5.9 half points.
All right, so mixed bag there. Not awful. Tucker Kraft, I will say this, as I always, throw in my own personal stuff that I say every week nobody cares about, but I'm going to say it anyway. Tucker Kraft personally saved me from being chopped in a guillotine league where I started Sam Darnold, who got me like 4 points, which, when your quarterback gets you 4 in a guillotine league, it's ugly. But Tucker Kraft saved me. I ended up being 3rd from the bottom chop, so I wasn't even the last or 2nd to last. So good stuff there. All right, we'll go over kicker real quick. I'm super frustrated. This is the 2nd week in a row that the one kicker that was in my article that I did not include in here had the best week of the streaming options. So I guess the moral is go read the article and not listen to me here, because I always leave one off. So we have so Cam Little is the guy that I left off, and he ended up being the kicker 6 on the week, but he was in my article. Austin Seibert was tied for kicker 11. Jason Myers tied for kicker 16. And then Braden Arbison was kicker 19, and Boswell was kicker 21. So mixed bag, but not too bad. I mean, if you started Little from my other article, or if you started Seibert, he was the kicker 11. Myers at 16 isn't bad, Boswell and Narveson probably didn't do too well for you, but at least they put points on the board.
Right.
How was defense?
Defense was fantastic, actually. I had kind of
Nice.
forgot who we even suggested until I looked again this morning, and we did awesome. We had the overall defense 3, the DST 3 with the Broncos, taking care of the Raiders and their quarterback tandem, for lack of a better description. The Seahawks lost to the Giants, but ended up being the DST 4 with 11 points. The Commanders got Deshaun Watson. They were the DST 8. And even if you had to go all the way down to the bottom and pick the Packers against the Rams, they were the DST 14. So we had the third overall ranked, the fourth, the eighth, and the 14th. So it's hard to go wrong last week, honestly.
Yeah, that's a pretty good week on the stream there. Good stuff. All right, let's move on to our segment, Weird Sport of the Week. This week, our Weird Sport of the Week is camel jumping. So camel jumping is done in the deserts of Yemen. It basically was started by the Zaranik desert tribesmen. Hopefully I'm saying that right. So the objective of the sport is to clean jump a group of camels that are stacked together horizontally. Obviously, they're not going to be vertical, but, I figured I'd throw that out there. Anyway, just in case people were thinking otherwise. So a jump is not considered valid if any part of your body touches any camel. Players are barefoot. They wear traditional Yemen attire, but the long part of the attire is tucked in at their waist level to prevent it from hindering during the jump. They start off from a distance. They sprint towards the camels. They use kind of like a vault in gymnastic. There's a little takeoff mound. It is made of mud. It's about 1 feet high. They get 1 try each to clear the camels. Basically, the player who clears the most number of camels is the winner and rewarded a cash prize. I guess it's similar to like Evel Knievel back in the day of jumping the cars. You just keep adding keep adding the camels so someone wins. I don't know. That's not on my bucket list. Camels freak me out. Like, they're cute and all, but they're not nice, and they spit like. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Have you ever been on a camel?
I don't think I've been on a camel. I've been around them. I spent a couple weeks in Egypt, and I've definitely been around them. I don't think I rode one though.
They're very tall.
I feel like I would remember. Yes, they're huge.
I don't think I could jump over one.
Right. I mean, in a 1 foot mound, it's not like it's a huge like takeoff point. I mean, that's a pretty small. Yeah, I think it's something that I would assume you have to train for a very long time. These guys are on. I don't think a tourist can just step up and camel jump.
I don't think so.
But yeah,
you start with baby camels, and then you go to like adolescent camels.
Yes, I'm sure that the junior circuit, you're doing babies, or maybe the junior circuit you start with like dogs or something, just to kind of warm you up to the level of full on camel. But yeah, something I don't think I'd be interested in. God forbid they turn around and bite you as you're heading over. I don't. Not into it, but good for them. It's cool, and it makes for a nice little weird sport of the week.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the issue at hand here, which is streamers for week 6. We have 4 teams on a bye this week. We have the Chiefs, the Rams, the Dolphins, and the Vikings. A lot of pieces there for fantasy. A lot of people missing quarterbacks, missing kickers, missing other pieces. So we will do our best to give you some options. However, it's not going to start with quarterback. Quarterback is super gross, as always. I think that I was telling Justin before we started this. This year feels more than ever that people are quarterback hoarding. There are not a lot of quarterbacks that are fit within our streaming criteria, which is they have to be rostered in 40% or fewer leagues on Yahoo. Not a lot there in the quarterback department. I wish we could have Caleb Williams this week. He has a gorgeous, beautiful, wonderful matchup against the 36th ranked Jaguars in quarterback adjusted fantasy points allowed. However, he is 60% rostered, so he doesn't technically count. But if he is there for you guys, he is absolutely the number one.
If he is there, go get him. Yeah.
If he is there, go get him. And he is there in 40% of leagues. He just doesn't qualify as a streamer. All right. The first guy I'm going to throw out there is Derek Carr against Tampa Bay. He is 32% rostered. He does have an oblique injury. He's getting an MRI today. So if he doesn't play, he's off the list, but he is the best option if he does play. Carr is quarterback 15 on the season. He's been kind of up and down, but as a whole, he is quarterback 15. Tampa Bay is second to last in quarterback adjusted fantasy points allowed. They're allowing 21.3 fantasy points per week to enemy quarterbacks. So Carr is kind of the best option there. The second guy we have is another guy that kind of it's Daniel Jones against the Bengals. He is 9% rostered. I will say this, right? He had a horrific week one. We were all cringing at the whole situation. However,
Right.
after his week one debacle, Jones just quarterback 13 in fantasy points per game from weeks 2 through 5. The Bengals are allowing the fifth most fantasy points to a quarterback every week. So he is an option. He's only on 9%. So he is free in 91% of leagues. So if you're desperate this week, if you're without, say, Patrick Mahomes, if you're without Sam Darnold, or Matthew Stafford, and there's nobody else there, I think Daniel Jones is a decent fill-in. The third option here is also a if they play option, and that is Joe Flacco against the Titans. He is only 7% rostered. Still TBD if Anthony Richard is ready with his oblique injury. Even if he is ready, they may go with Flacco, they may not. Either way, if Flacco plays, I think he's a decent option. He had 359 yards and 3 touchdowns last week
Right.
against the Jags. Once again, play Caleb Williams if he's there. But the Titans are 17th against the quarterback, and he is an option. I have one more very disgusting option, but in case like if Carr and Flacco don't go, then that leaves Jones. So I wanted to throw one more out there. It's not a good option, but it is a body, and that is Bo Nix against the Chargers. I mean, the Chargers are 6th in quarterback adjusted fantasy points allowed. They're only allowing 12 points each week to the quarterback. So not a good matchup, not a great quarterback. However, he's a warm body that you could put in your roster if Flacco
Right.
doesn't play, if Carr doesn't play, if you're absolutely at the bottom of the barrel, that would be Bo Nix.
I mean, with all these people hoarding quarterbacks, you might only have like 7 options. So
It's not even. I mean, it's really bad. I mean, when you go and on Yahoo and you kind of sort, and there I am at anyone under 40% rostered, and it's literally the guys I named plus maybe like you said the Raiders tandem. I mean, they're both there.
yeah.
And then you get Will Levis. I mean, it's bad. It's not good. Okay, before we move on to tight end, let's take a few questions from
Yeah.
our lovely listeners that are here. Terry R, full PPR, Conklin or Kincaid. I don't know why you have the frowny face there. I mean, considering what we're up against, those aren't the worst options, right? Well,
Probably upset that they're even considering Conklin over Kincaid. I would
I
still
see
play.
what you mean.
I would still play Kincaid. Maybe I'm being slow to react to what's happening, but I mean, it has to come at some point. I like Conklin though. We're about to talk about him.
Okay, there's
If
your
you're fed up
incentive.
with Kincaid, just play Conklin. But I would rather have Kincaid.
Yeah, I think we're at a point in 2024 in tight end that if you're fed up, do it. I mean, last week I sat Andrews for Parkinson and it worked out just fine. And unfortunately Parkinson is off this week, so I have to play Mark Andrews.
Right.
But yeah, I mean that's where we are. If you don't believe in Kincaid, go for Conklin. But like Justin said, I feel like it is coming for him as well. Hello, Edwin, back at you. One more question here, Kevin Edmonds. Ferguson or McBride? I have Kyler and or Gino at QB. Is McBride back?
Yes. I
don't know.
I don't just memorize every
Come on,
matchup.
Justin.
No, I mean I don't remember who Arizona's playing or who Dallas is playing because
no, I hear you. Arizona is playing the Packers. Dallas is playing the Lions.
Okay. Oh, that's kind of a toss up then. I would probably go McBride, but that is a good matchup in what should hopefully be a shootout for Dallas. So if you're thinking Ferguson over McBride, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, as far as Let's see. The Packers are 27th in tight end adjusted fantasy points allowed. If you want some metrics here to back up what we have going on. And then Detroit is 13th. So the Packers is the better matchup for McBride. So there you go.
Yeah, McBride it is.
McBride it is. Let's do one more tight end here before we get to tight ends, and that's Joseph Park. Oh, this is not a tight end question. It's a trade question. But anyway, here we are. Njoku and Tolbert for Jamison Williams and Tajay Spears.
I mean, I feel like I'd rather have the first pairing. Brandon Cooks is out for at least 3 more weeks.
Yeah.
David Njoku is about to get some passes from Jameis Winston.
Yes.
In the next couple of weeks.
I hope so, but unfortunately, they're still sticking to they're going to go with Watson, but I think at some point they have to make that move. I don't know how they don't. It doesn't make any sense. But as far as without that, I kind of like the front part too. I mean, I like Jamison Williams. He's been but I think Tajay is kind of a throwaway there, and with Cooks on IR, I like Tolbert better. So I prefer the first side.
I kind of like the first side more too.
Yeah. Okay. Justin, who did you bring for us in the streaming tight end world?
In the streaming tight end world, we've got a couple familiar faces that aren't too exciting, but I do have more of a deep cut that could be more exciting. We'll see. Starting off, I will have to find what I did with that tab. I've got Tyler Conklin, who we've talked about already a few times this season, because he hasn't had that explosive game where people are like scrambling to the waiver wire. He gets to sit here in our streaming streets, which is, more than fine when you're trying to avoid zeros. Conklin had 9 targets last week. He didn't do a ton with them because in the second half, he was kind of just like the safety valve dump off option. He caught 4 of his 6 targets in the second half, but it amounted to 17 yards on those 6 targets. They were running screens for him. I don't know exactly what they were doing. Not that he's a play caller, but Robert Saleh did get the axe after that miserable performance. Someone had to be scapegoated, and it's not going to be Aaron Rodgers.
No, so and they famously or whatever clearly are not getting along. So yeah, that was the move.
We could see that coming.
Yeah,
but Conklin is getting along. And if we can assume that Garrett Wilson is not going to get 22 targets every week, Conklin could get an even bigger piece of the pie, and he's already coming off a 9-target game. So not bad. He's kind of the main streamer for this week. Behind him is a very less exciting option. I went back with Zach Ertz, which is kind of gross. I mean, 8 targets for 2 half PPR points. Not great. If you already grabbed him and you're not trying to stream him again, I understand why you would drop him. But with this Commanders offense still taking off and Ben Sinnott not being an option at all, I think Ertz is still going to be out there. I think he can easily get 6 to 8 targets again here in week 6. Will he catch more than 2 of them? Hopefully. This is a pretty good matchup here. And he also gets the Panthers in week 7 in case you wanted to grab him and try to stream him and then stream him again next week. Look, it's a low ceiling play for sure, but I'm kind of here for Ertz again. But if you got burnt by him last week, I get not going back to the well. We also have K. Dotton, who has come on quite strong after a pretty pitiful first couple of weeks of the season. 21 targets over the last 3 weeks, 16 catches, and 143 yards in that same time span. And this was after his week 1 and week 2 when he had 1 catch for 5 yards total. So it's hard to say exactly what has changed in the offense, but clearly they're trying to target him a little more often. He gets the Saints this week. They rank 5th in quarterback schedule adjusted fantasy points and 9th to wide receivers, but they allow 9.2 schedule adjusted fantasy points to the tight end position, where they rank 20th. So they're a little soft there. Travis Kelce and Noah Gray combined for 11 catches, 99 yards. Yesterday was Monday, right?
Yes.
So last night. I think Otten has one of the safest floors of the position, and he probably offers quite a bit more ceiling than Zach Ertz did or has this season. So if you'd rather go with Otten, definitely understand that. And then kind of like a bonus, a deeper cut. We saw rookie Theo Johnson get more involved last week. 5 catches, 48 yards after he had 37 yards on the season. Granted, we didn't have Malik Neighbors out there, and he should be back this week. But, the Giants could always use some more pass catchers, a little more juice. So we'll see if they run Theo Johnson out there more here in week 6. They get a Bengals defense that has been very giving to all positions, while their offense has been also on fire. So it's like every single game turns into a blowout, not a blowout, but a shootout of some sort. So Theo Johnson, he's 99% available in Yahoo leagues. If you're trying to get past the boring veteran options who might score you 6 points, and you want to take a rookie who could score you 0 or 15, so maybe fire up Theo Johnson to make things a little more exciting and a pretty unexciting position.
Yeah, I hope Theo Johnson becomes more of a thing. I definitely I took my fair share this summer in best ball, and it would be nice, like you said, to get some fresh names up here in the streaming. And for those of us that are cycling through tight ends each week, dropping and picking up and trying to figure out who's going to get more than 0, it would be nice if he kind of enters the fray. I like it. All right, let's take some questions before we move on to kicker. Where did we leave off here? Oh, okay, Sam Burks, we're there. Limited ads in my main league for the year. Is it worth using one of my few ads for the year to add Jake Elliott in place of Tyler Bass, since Elliott has no bye weeks the rest of the year? I mean, like I personally would prefer Jake Elliott over Bass for the rest of the year anyway. I don't know if it's worth using one of your few ads. Like, I don't know what that means if you only have like a certain amount and you can't, or it costs money, or I don't know. But
is it like 10 or something? Is that, I've never been in a league like this.
No, I haven't either. I was
like
in a league like a very long time ago, like in the 90s, where we had to pay money per transaction, which is crap.
Yeah.
But it really depends, I guess, Sam, on the rest of your team. Like, if you think that you're going to need one of those ads for an actual other position player, then I don't know that I would waste it. Like, I don't know how much of a difference. I mean, what I should know the Bills buy, but I don't. Of how long you basically have to wait there, but I don't know. That's an interesting question. If it was just a regular old question, I would be like, yeah, take Elliott over Bass for the rest of the year and kind of don't look back. I like it. But if it's going to screw you out of another position player later in the year, then maybe not.
That's fair. Yeah.
Sam also wants to know thoughts on Juju after last night. I told you last week that it was going to be Juju. Did I not? Didn't we have this conversation?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's an option. It's just that's the problem with Kansas City, is that he's an option this week, but he may not be an option next week.
Right.
They have a lot. But depending on your situation and wide receiver wise, I don't hate him as far as adding him. I mean, what do you think, Justin?
Sure. I mean, I think that's fine. I don't think he's going to. He went 5 years between 100-yard performances, or 4 years or whatever. I mean, sure. Right. You can take him. If you're expecting another 100 yards, the odds are against you.
Yeah, I mean, he's
incrementally against you.
Yeah, I mean, he's the type of player that's going to have 2 targets one week and 10 targets another, and it's just going to continue on down the line. But Rashee Rice is now out officially for the rest of the season, so they're going to have to fill his spot with some combination of Worthy, Watson, Juju,
Devontae Adams,
potentially Devontae Adams. We'll have to see. Okay. Marinda, let's see here. She's got a couple. I think her actual question is below. Full PPR, Jameson Williams and Kareem Hunt for Devontae Smith.
Yeah, that's fine, I guess. It's an upgrade. It's an upgrade on the wide receiver. You're giving up Kareem Hunt, who looks like he's a pretty huge part of that offense right now. We'll see how long.
I don't know that I would do that for me. I mean, it depends on what else your team looks like. If you, well, actually, you're getting Devontae Smith? Yeah, I mean, if you have the running back depth and you don't need Kareem Hunt, then yeah, I would do that. But if you're starting Kareem Hunt or he needs to be in the mix,
Sure.
I don't know that I would do that.
Yeah, AJ Brown should be back as well.
Yeah. Okay, let's go one more here before we move on to kicker. I got offered Devin Achan for Brian Robinson Jr. and Devontae Wicks. Do I accept?
No.
I don't know that I would do that.
I don't think I would do that.
He is hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Robinson Jr. and Wicks are not. And with Christian Watson out, I mean, Wicks didn't have the week that people wanted him to have, but I still think there will be those weeks. And Brian Robinson's a pretty good running back right now. That team is on fire. So I don't know that I would do that.
I think with the injuries to the Dolphins backfield to this point already, they're going to continue to rotate as much as they can. And Jalen Wright just rushed for like 85 yards on 12 touches or whatever. So I think that he's earned a larger role. If Achane doesn't miss time with this concussion, and he doesn't injure something else,
right?
I think it's still going to be a bit of a rotation. Who knows if and when Tua is coming back? Apparently, he is coming back, and it could be in the next couple of weeks. We'll see if that gives the boost to the offense that they had experienced in the beginning of the year.
I hope so. They are not the same team without him.
They really aren't.
It's funny, like Achane, you're like, okay, he's super fast, and then you watch Jalen Wright, and you're just like, what? Like,
wow, he's super fast too.
Fast, insane. All right, let's get to kicker.
Okay.
It's a decent week for kicker.
Okay.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of options. I only have 4. I could have gone longer. I think my article had 7 this week.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of options. The top person is the Narv Dog, Braden Narvinson. Nav Dog, Narwhal, whatever we want to call him. Took me a while to come up with my pun this morning for the article.
I saw it. It was good.
It was all right. I settled because I was running out of time because we had to get to this podcast. But Braden Narvison is the top option. They are playing at home against Arizona. He is 27% rostered. Narvison is kicker 14 on the season. They are at Lambeau. They are favored by 5. Their team total right now is 27.75, which is the second highest on the week. So the process leads us to Braden Narvison as the top option. However, there's also a lot of good options. Second is Jake Bates at home against Dallas. Thanks to the bye week, he is only 7% rostered. So he is back. And of course, he is now back in the show, as he has been every week, other than last week when he was out. He's back in his rightful place. The Lions are road favorites by a field goal. They also have the same 27.75 team total as the Packers there. So he's a good option, even though I say this every week, even though Dan Campbell likes to go for it a lot on 4th down, Jake Bates is still producing. So yeah, he's an option there. Excuse me. Third guy I have here is Chase McLaughlin. They are on the road this week in New Orleans. He is 18% rostered. Chase McLaughlin has 5 50-plus yarders so far this season in 5 games.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. They're 1.5 point favorites, and their team total is 22.25. So he's crushing the long game right now there for Tampa Bay. He's a decent option, and like I said, he's only 18% rostered, so he should be there for you. My 4th bonus option is Matthew Wright. He is sorry, my phone was ringing there. Matthew Wright is on the road in Seattle. So he beat out 5 other kickers yesterday to temporarily replace Jake Moody, who has an ankle injury. They've got a Thursday night road game. They are favored by 3.5 with a 25.50 team total. And of course, Matthew Wright is 0% rostered right now because he was not on a team as of yesterday.
No one knew who he was until yesterday. Yeah,
he was not on a team as of yesterday, but he is the guy. Road kickers are not my favorite as it is. And then you've got a guy that literally just joined the team, but it's not like he has to learn the playbook. He needs to kick a ball. So I think he'll be all right there. He is my 4th option there. So those are our kickers. Any thoughts, concerns on the kicker streamers, Justin?
No, I was going to ask you who won the 49ers job, but then
Ah,
you came with the info, so
I did. And
I knew
Matthew,
that you would know.
well, of course.
I know they were
Ma-
testing out kickers, and then I blanked
yeah.
out after that.
Matthew Wright, I believe, was on the Lions for a bit. I don't know his full history,
It
but
sounds familiar.
he's not certainly fresh. He's been around. He's been in and out of teams, so he should be all right in Seattle. I mean, it's not the easiest place to play, but once again, he has to kick a ball. Not that I'm,
Yeah.
yeah, I couldn't do
No
it.
no shade no shade meant, but
No shade.
he's not like learning a new
Right.
route
It's
tree
right. It's
in a
not
different
like
scheme.
yeah, it's not like Tyler Huntley who got thrown in like 2 days after to be the Dolphins quarterback. But yeah, so there you go. Those are the kickers. Let's do a couple more questions here before we get to our team defenses
Yeah.
for the week. Where are we? Oh, Paul. I am not going to pronounce your last name. 10 team
Pavlicek?
Pavlishak,
Pavlicek?
probably, right? Okay. Hi, Paul. 10 team PPR. Should I trade Connor for London? My wide receivers are CeeDee Lamb, Jaden Reed. RB1 is Henry. Hubbard would move to RB2. I have Dowdle, Moss, Irving, Ford, Irving.
Wow.
Yep. Dell and Shakir wide receivers. Oh, it's 10 team. I'm like, you have a really good team there, Paul.
Yeah.
But 10 team,
Still
that makes
good
a little
team.
more sense. Still, yes, I was going to say it's still a very good team.
I would say I'd do this in a heartbeat, but it is a little worrisome that Hubbard would be your every week starter because he's presumably going to get squeezed a lot here in just a couple weeks.
he is, but Dowdle's coming on, and you have Moss, who is
And Moss and
Moss is
Irving.
kind of he's hurt though, and Irving might be the RB1 in Tampa Bay very soon as well. Ford will probably get squeezed out as well, but
Ford's getting squeezed out already, and Nick
right,
Chubb's
well,
not even back yet.
true. And Connor, I don't want to. We hate to say that, yeah, but he is older and he's getting a lot of run right now, so he may wear down here as we move on. And
That's
Benson,
fair.
they may get Benson or what is his name, DeMercado.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't hate that, and I think the Falcons are gelling. Right, Kirk Cousins is finally kind of getting his footing there after that Achilles, and I feel like they're on the upward trajectory. So I don't hate that, Paul, at all.
I think if this is a start 2 wide receiver league, and then you have like either Drake London or Jaden Reed as your flex option, that's a strong flex.
Yeah, I think you should definitely take that into heavy consideration there. Okay, Dustin Goldsberry, Deontay Johnson for Devontae Adams.
That's rough. We both really like Deontay Johnson.
I do really like Deontay Johnson.
So
and
not knowing where Devontae goes is like,
I know it's so tough. I mean, because I feel like it's inevitable. He will go somewhere at this point. He's not going to play for the Raiders. We've heard so many different teams at this point. I feel like there's been a carousel of at least 3 to 4 teams that are possibilities. Some of them are good, some of them are not so good.
We joked about the Chiefs, but
that would be amazing.
Would they really trade in division? Their season's done. It doesn't matter how many games the Chiefs win.
Right. True.
But if he goes to like Cleveland, that's disgusting. I don't want Devontae Adams if he's in Cleveland.
Yeah, that would be really gross. If he goes to the Jets, that's another
fine.
I mean, it's fine, but of course you have the Rodgers Adams thing, which was a thing for a very long time.
That's true.
I don't know. I mean, that's a tough one because we don't know who his quarterback is, right? Like Deontay Johnson got a bump, right? We're happy. I mean, Andy Dalton is not the end all be all, but he is better than Bryce Young. I know they threw Bryce Young in at the end of last week's game, but that was just because it was over. I assume Andy Dalton will still be the QB there. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you don't care where he goes and you just want him, then go for it. If you can wait a little bit, but I doubt you'll get that trade once they find out, unless, like you said, he goes to Cleveland.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a tough one.
I guess it's fine. It's a risk reward. If you're just trying to shoot for the moon and you think he's going to go to New York and he's getting 14 targets a game from A-Rod, like go for it. You know, it's kind of more of a gut thing. I don't think I would like to take the risk not knowing where he's going to go. But, you know, if he goes to Kansas City and he's the wide receiver 1 on the Chiefs, then that it would look pretty stupid to go, I can't believe I kept the Panthers wide receiver 1 over the Chiefs wide receiver 1.
Right. I mean, exactly. That yeah, it's a tough one. Because like we say, hindsight is always 2020.
Mm.
All right, we got one more question here, and then we can head to defenses. Reese Bird, would you try to trade Jordan Mason for good value now before McCaffrey comes back? I would hang on to Mason because we don't know. Okay, I mean, McCaffrey has what, Achilles tendonitis in both legs.
Right.
I just don't know that he's coming back as the McCaffrey we've all known and loved. And Jordan Mason is getting it done. So I would, I guess it depends on your roster, right? If Mason is like your third running back, then absolutely. But if you're counting on him every week, I don't know that I would gamble on McCaffrey right now.
Right. I think if the 49ers are in a good place when CMC's about to come back, that they might ease him back in anyways just to save him for the playoffs.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
So yeah, I think I would keep Jordan Mason too.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the defense / special teams streamers of the week. Justin, who you got for us?
Let's do it. We've got 4 DSTs this week. Are they in order? Yes, they are in order of how available they are in your league. We'll start with the most rostered DST and the Texans, who are 43% rostered.
Cheater.
I know. Hey, look, it's close enough.
I'm kidding. Go ahead.
But they get the Patriots, which is also kind of cheating, honestly. Maybe I should just scrub it off. It's double cheating. The Patriots have allowed a 46.2% pressure rate on dropbacks. It is by far the worst in the league. And Jacoby Brissett has been pretty pitiful as well. You know, I think he's a very serviceable backup. I think everyone probably agrees with that, but he's not a starting level quarterback for more than a couple games at a time. He has 0.24 fantasy points per dropback on the year, which is 36th out of 38 qualifying quarterbacks. The other 2 quarterbacks being Bryce Young and somehow Skylar Thompson still squeaked into the qualifying. So the only quarterbacks Jacoby Brissett is playing better than is Bryce Young and Skylar Thompson. So that's reason enough to stream the Texans, even though I cheated by a couple percentage.
It's minuscule. Listen, there's a lot of leagues where people, well, they'll be there. So that's good advice.
My second defense is also pretty close to the line, but it's not quite cheating. I've got the Eagles versus the Browns. We've already touched on the Browns. We tend to touch on the Browns very briefly in every episode because it's easy to pick on them at this point. The Browns have a 40.8% pressure rate allowed on dropbacks, which is the worst in the league besides the Patriots. Deshaun Watson himself, among those same 38 qualifying quarterbacks, he ranks 37th in yards per attempt, 31st in QB rating, and 36th in adjusted yards per attempt. So once again, he's playing better than pretty much Bryce Young, Skylar Thompson, and Jacoby Brissett. So bad quarterback play and an offensive line that has been shuffling injured people in and out. The Philadelphia Eagles are a good target against that Browns offense. Next up, I have the Chargers defense, who are playing Bo Nix. So I didn't mean to step on the Bo Nix toes here.
You're not stepping. I told you. It's like literally because he has blood running through his veins and he's going to be under center. That was the only reason.
The Chargers are probably the best just floor play, just outright floor play defense you can go snag in pretty much every league. They're only rostered in 14% of leagues. Go get, your 4 or 5 points out of them. The Broncos are averaging 182 passing yards per game, which is 30th. And the rushing hasn't been that explosive either. They're averaging 106 yards per game, which is 21st. They do have a pretty good offensive line, but, just the odds that the Broncos are probably not coming in and scoring 30 points, even though they're at home, I think makes the Chargers a good floor play this week. And then the last one, another low owned option if for some reason you're in a deeper league or people just hanging on to 2 or 3 defenses. I have the Bucks against the Saints. As you mentioned, the Saints did come out looking super red hot right out of the gate. We have Derek Carr, who's possibly dealing with an injury that could keep him out of some action. I don't think it will, but we'll see. Per PFF's pass blocking grade, the entirety of the Saints offensive line now has a 39.4 grade, which is the worst in the league. A lot of that came because of the poor performance last night. I once again forgot what day it was. On Monday Night Football, they got pretty well torn apart by the Chiefs defense. Eric McCoy, their starting center, went on IR a couple weeks ago. Shane Lemieux was pulled from the practice squad for a start. He suffered an ankle injury. He wasn't able to suit up. This led the Saints to pull Connor McGovern off of the Jets practice squad. Connor McGovern was literally on the way to get on the plane to fly to London last week when the Saints signed him off the practice squad, and he ended up having to play on Monday night because Lucas Patrick was forced to move to left guard for another injury. So all that's to say, they're currently rolling out their 4th string center against the Bucks defensive pass rush. So mess with the Bucks DST here if you need a deeper option.
Yeah, I like it. Our coworker here, Brian Twinning, points out if famous Jameis does get the call, then I don't know if the Brown, I don't know if the Eagles, I don't know.
Well, he's good for 3 touchdowns.
I
and
was
3
just gonna say
so.
he's good for a few picks for sure.
It'll be more exciting.
Yes,
for
everybody. I think collectively the football fans, fantasy, everybody is rooting for Jameis to get that call here. I can't imagine that. We're all ready.
Managers, come on.
Yeah, we're all ready. All right, Timmy Cheese has a couple questions here. I'm sorry, were you done with defense? I think you were, yeah?
Yeah, no,
okay.
That's good.
Okay. Timmy Cheese says, keep Achane or trade. If I trade, who do I go for? My running backs are Connor, Achane, C. Brown, Charbonnet, and Chubb.
Honestly, I think you missed the boat a little bit on getting rid of Achane. I don't know. Do you think people are buying Achane right now after he just missed another game?
I don't think so. I don't know. I wouldn't. I can't imagine. I mean, it would depend. Maybe they are, but you're going to get less in return, clearly, than you would have a couple weeks ago. And if you do trade him, I don't know what you're going to get for him. Yeah, I mean, listen, you always roll the dice, right? That's the whole. Yeah. I mean, the worst that happens is someone rejects your trade. So I don't know who. I mean, I don't know that you can trade him for another running back. I don't know that would make sense. So I don't know without knowing who your. Oh, it says down below. Sorry, my receivers are Lamb, DJ Moore, Rice, Tucker, and Shakir. Okay, well, Rice is out for the season. So yeah, I mean, I would trying to think of someone that you could possibly try to get that would, you may be able to get like a Brandon Ayuk or a Jameson Williams, Brian Thomas Jr., like that kind of
find someone who thinks that the Ayuk game last week was a fluke. I would do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, you could try to go that route. Or like I said, even like, that next tier of like Jameson Williams, Brian Thomas, Pickens, someone may do that, and that would help you. I mean, Lamb, DJ Moore, I mean, Tucker and Shakir are iffy, so you definitely need that wide receiver 3/flex. So yeah, I mean, roll the dice. You never know what's going to happen there, right? All right, I think we're it. I think we've wrapped it up. This is a shorter question and answer period. We're under our normal time, which Justin and I are not going to complain there.
I'm going to touch grass.
Really? I don't have time for that today, and I know you don't either, so I don't know who you're kidding. But touching grass is good. We got one more. Do I hold or trade Waddle? Once again, you might have missed your window. I will say this. We just talked about it earlier. Justin touched on it for a second, but everything I read, it seems that Tua is coming back possibly in week 8. He is symptom free. Which is good, right? And he is eligible to return in week 8. They absolutely need him. So if he is
Yeah.
symptom free and he is cleared, he's going to be on that field because they need him. So
Yeah.
it's up to you really whether you whether you hold or trade depending on what you have going on. But if it's just based on that, I would hold him because I think that
Yeah.
we may see an uptick there. We may see back to the Dolphins that we all expected here when he does return.
I think someone would try to offer you like Jerome Ford or something, and like that's the type of
Right.
caliber of player I think someone would trade for Waddle right now. So it's like I think it's 100% a hold for me.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Sammy's praising the best
All right.
ball, which we love too. All right, we're gonna get
Let's
out of
go,
here.
best ball.
Which yeah, we love
Love
best
best ball.
we love it all though, honestly. I love best
Right.
ball, I love guillotine, redraft. Still fun. This is my 28th year playing fantasy football, I think.
Okay.
I can't math right now. But my first year was 1996, so I think we're at 28 years. Which is insane. And I still love it, still play, and it's my full-time
Yeah.
job. Justin, anything to talk about, promote before we head out of here?
No, just go over to 4for4.com and click all of our articles and
Yeah,
tell
there's
us
a
how
lot.
great they are.
Yep. Tell us how great we are. No, thank you all for joining us as usual. We absolutely appreciate it. We will see you next week, same time, same channel, same everything. Hope you guys get those wins this week. Have a wonderful Tuesday.
Yeah.
And
right.
I'm going to remember to hit the outro.